Hi, I'm Matt, here in Michigan.
And I'm Randall here in Texas. Today, Matt and I are taking a look at the new Netflix film, I'm Thinking of Ending Things. It's a bit of a different turn for us, but it was an interesting watch. Gonna go through the cast for you. It's a pretty small cast, but really well casted, I think. It stars Jesse Plemons, Jesse Buckley, Tony Collette, David Thewlis, Guy Boyd. It is directed by Charlie Kaufman, who's also the writer of this, and he did the screenplay. He also wrote Being John Malkovich and Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Yeah, this movie is based on the 2016 book by the same name. It was written by Ian Reed. This movie is about a young woman who travels with her boyfriend to his parents' home, but once they get there, she starts to question what she knows about him and herself. This film has been released in select theaters and is out on Netflix right now. It has received generally positive reviews from critics, but mixed reviews from viewers. This movie is not an easy one to talk about without getting into spoilers, but Randall and I are going to do our best to avoid spoilers in this review for you. So, Randall, what do you think about this movie?
So, having just sat down and watched this, the first thing that really comes to mind is that this is one of those movies where nothing is done on accident. Everything you see on the screen is there on purpose. It has a point. Now, it might not be a point that you understand or even I understand or that anyone's willing to explain to you, but everything is there for some reason. And not every film's like that, because I caught myself having to go back and rewind because I was taking a note and then something else happened. And I was like, oh crap, I have to go back and watch that because I missed something. Stuff happens and everything's important.
Yeah, I think this might be one of those movies that you watch more than once to try to pick up on the different things. And another thing too, everything is in here for a reason, but not everything, or I would say most things, aren't fully explained. So don't see like a key point and think like, oh, they're gonna fully delve into that and stuff and fully explain exactly what that means and stuff. That's not necessarily what's gonna happen and stuff in this film. But they do some good cues for you. I wouldn't say this movie is dull looking. I'm just talking about like the color stuff. It's not like a really bright, colorful movie, but there are things that where they use color. Certain things are colored, brightly to draw your attention to that. Yeah, this is a movie where things aren't necessarily what they seem, and you try to figure out what it all means.
It's certainly uh, filmed in an interesting way too. Immediately when I saw it, you notice that it's filmed in an aspect ratio that's not quite widescreen. It's not quite 4:3, but it's not quite wide either. And I thought, well, they're going to use that for tension to make everything feel real claustrophobic. But in reality, they really didn't. They end up filming a lot of these characters, step paces away from each other. So they had this really interesting aspect ratio, but they didn't use it to do what you usually use that aspect ratio for, to make everything feel so tight and enclosed like they did in The Lighthouse when we reviewed The Lighthouse, where it was kind of done on purpose that way. I thought that was a really interesting choice by Kaufman, considering it's not what you usually see this aspect ratio used for.
And, one thing I really like about this movie is the use of snow. This whole movie takes place during, I guess you'd say, a snowstorm. While they're traveling in the car, or whatever. There's a little bit of snow, and Buckley's character keeps saying like, "Hey, maybe we should turn back. Maybe we should go home. I have stuff to do tomorrow, so I can't stay over." And that snow kind of like builds throughout the movie as it continues to snow and stuff. So it adds a little bit of tension and stuff too. And there's also some good visuals, I think, in the movie when they're in the car and you're like looking out through the windshield and you see kind of like the snow falling and the snowy roads and stuff. I think that is a cool aspect of this film that has a little bit more meaning later on in the movie.
Absolutely, it does. And there is one thing though that I do want to share with the audience, and in case they don't delve into this, or maybe they are guessing whether or not they want to check this film out, I have a quote from the director. This was a quote that he gave to IndieWire when he was doing an interview with them. "I let people have their experiences, so I don't really have expectations about what people are going to think. I really do support anyone's interpretation. So Matt's mentioning how the snow and the storm and it kind of gets worse as the film progresses, and that could have a meaning to him. To someone else, they might take a different interpretation from that and be just fine. Like the director's not going to be like, oh no, that's not what it means. A la like Chris Nolan, where everything is really there to point you to the actual meaning. This film does not have that. So if you're looking for some hard, concrete meaning in this film, this is not the film for you, basically.
Another thing is a lot of this movie deals with dialogue, and we have an excellent cast to bring that dialogue to the screen. A lot of this movie takes place in a car. It's like a car ride. So it's not like you're getting a whole lot of action scenes to tell the story. A lot of it is in that dialogue, their interaction with each other.
Yeah, honestly, I give huge credits to the two mains, Jesse Plemons and Jesse Buckley, because they don't get to do a whole bunch of like movement acting. They spend the bulk of this film sitting in a car, just kind of talking. I thought for a bit before I even knew it was based on a book that this would be a great play, like Waiting for Godot type play or something like that. I would love to see this in a play format, honestly, in theater format, because I think it would work in that medium. It works super well on the screen as well, but I kept thinking, wow, if this were just on a stage, this would be so cool. Maybe eventually, before the stage version could be written up.
Oh yeah, we do have some stage references and stuff in this movie a little bit too. And one thing I think that just shows, how good these actors are, even not just our main characters, but some of our secondary characters too, is I mentioned before how things aren't necessarily what they seem, and a lot of that happens after they reach the parents' home. And some of our characters actually change a little bit. And I think that just shows the talent of these actors too, that they basically, are able to kind of change the character that they're acting about and stuff too. And I thought that was really good in this film.
This dialogue between the characters and everything that happens, I mean, there are references, reference. I mean, historical film majors probably get so much more out of this film than I did, or maybe even you did. There are just things I'm like, wow, whew, way over my head. There is one thing, another kind of, not necessarily warning, but it's about a 2 hour and 8 minute film, give or take a little bit. So it's not super long, but it's also not short. But I felt every minute of this runtime, to be honest. I'm one of those people who keeps waiting for things to happen. That's kind of how I watch movies. It's not that things don't happen, because they definitely do. It's just that I found myself several times like, wow, when are we going to get to blah? When are we going to get to, X, Y, or Z? So, not particularly long, but you feel it.
It's one of those movies too that I think you're invested in a little bit. You kind of have to be. You'll miss things if you're not paying attention a lot to the dialogue and some of the changes that happen during the film. I know sometimes I kind of questioned while I was watching, like, wait, did I just miss something? Did I just miss something? And the whole time through the movie, I had my different theories about what was going on, and that kept changing throughout the film.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm 100% with you when you say your different theories. I have, like I said, 4 different question marks on my page as I was trying to figure out what this is about, and I'm like, is it this? Is it this? Maybe it's this, question mark, as my theory changed throughout the film, and my interpretation was different. This is definitely not for everyone. If you're into action, big action films, and you don't like kind of slow moving dramas, this might be a skip for you. I'm personally happy that I watched it. And it was actually a recommendation from my good friend Matt.
Who's that guy?
You might know him. It wasn't on my radar, so I'm happy that when people recommend films, which by the way, recommend in the doobly-doo, give us recommendations and we might give your film a watch.
Yep, this is a movie that I would probably recommend for like movie buffs and stuff. Something that then you have like time to actually sit down and pay attention to for the film. What do you guys think? Are you guys looking to see this movie, or have you already seen it? Let us know in the comments below. Also, if you like our review, be sure to give us a like and subscribe and ring that bell to get notified about our videos. We also have a Facebook page. We will post a day before our videos go out to let you know what our next video is going to be. Thanks for watching. I'm Matt here in Michigan. Have a good day.
And I'm Randall here in Texas. See everyone later. Randall's going to be taking a trip to Michigan. While he's in Michigan, he's going to stop by Matt's place, and we're going to be doing a live stream. And we can hope that you guys will join us there.
Next time on No Market Media. Please consider checking out some of our other videos.